Alright guys, let's play some D&D. Who wants to kick us off with a recap of the last game session?
You know, we were thinking maybe this time you, the Dungeon Master, can give the recap of the last game session.
You want me to give the recap?
Yeah, you're the Dungeon Master. Show us how recaps are done.
Indeed, it is time for our illustrious Dungeon Master to strut his stuff. Why, you see, the thing is, you guys.
Holy crap, really? You don't remember what happened? The Associate Handbook's chapter on negligence clearly details this as a breach of the social contract.
Oh dear, well, I'm really sorry, but we're gonna have to take off your head now.
Take my head off just because I don't remember? Now listen here, you who call yourself a Dungeon Master, don't you know that it is your job to keep detailed notes of everything that happens in the game? But...
Oh, quit whining about it.
The game is called pen and paper for a reason, so you can take notes.
No, I'm not your secretary.
Well, according to the Associate Handbook, Chapter 3, Section 9, Paragraph 4, and I quote, Dungeon Masters who are delinquent in their job duties shall be suspended for a period of time not to exceed eternity.
Indeed, it looks like we'll have no choice but to replace our Dungeon Master. Wait, just because I didn't take notes? Who else is going to do what I do for you? Do you have any idea the amount of work I put in for all of you guys?
Oh, well, we know just the person who would make an excellent Dungeon Master. Now, Mr. Editor Zack, person, do your thing now.
Oh, this is bullcrap. Quit screwing. You guys, I pay Zack with cold, hard cash. He's not going to. Oh, hello, kiddos. Are you ready to play some D&D? Welcome to DM Lair. I'm Lucar, and I've been a Dungeon Master since high school. On this channel, I give practical Dungeon Master advice that you can use in your Dungeons & Dragons games. Today in the Lair, we're going to be talking about Dungeon Master note-taking. I'm going to be going over 8 things I take notes on in my games, and that you should consider taking notes on to improve your game and make your life easier. Because remembering important things is easier when you write them down. Before we jump in, I want to let you know that Majesty and Might, my April Patron Pdf, is available now. It features 2 Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition adventures, The Undying Brain, a level 7 adventure, and The Bloodstone Strike, a level 4 adventure. It also has 10 new magic armors, 5 puzzles, 10 traps, and 10 adventure ideas. And that's just the April volume. In fact, I publish a new Patron PDF every single month, and they're all full of D&D 5th edition resources to help Dungeon Masters reduce their prep time and make their games even more awesome. You can become a DM Lair patron at the link below to immediately get access to both my April and March PDFs. And then every month you get more DM resources to use in your games. So if you're strapped for time but still want to run awesome games for your players, click that link below to learn more. And now on to DM note-taking. This is going to be a riveting topic today. Number 1, calendar notes. Okay, here's a rundown of some things I usually keep track of in my calendar for my games. I track the date and time, obviously. I keep track of ongoing effects, diseases, spells, things like that I can remember from game session to game session. I will track major events, writing them down in the calendar for future reference. I will track things that already happened, and I'll track things that will happen. For instance, right here, we're looking at the calendar entry for Marpenoth of one of my games. And I have made a whole bunch of different notes here, things about their mayor domo and what's going on in Trollskull Manor. I am keeping track of when they long rested at different points in time. I'm keeping track of when they took their downtime and leveled up. I have a note here that one of the characters used a paper bird to send a note to his family. Some more downtime and a level up. One of the characters died, and I'm keeping track of the negative modifier to his ability scores that will go away over time because, you know, they used Raise Dead on him. And then I have some notes down here about their franchise and different things that are going on with it. And you're going to find that if you keep notes like this, it is very good for future reference, and it will help you in planning out your game sessions and adventures that are yet to happen. Number 2, keep a session journal. A session journal is just basic notes about what happened in the last game session. This is to, help you remember from game session to game session, which is extremely useful if you're running multiple groups like I do. I have, 3 groups that I do now? So yeah, I need to take some notes to remember what happened 2 weeks ago, or a month ago in the case of my youngling group. For instance, right here on screen, you can see my session notes, my journal entry, basically, from one of my Ancient Dragon games that I ran recently. Many of my Ancient Dragon players should not look at this stuff. Probably. You can see that I'm keeping track of the date and the time here. I'm keeping track of their location. I made a note about some monsters that they encountered and fought, and some basic things. They bribed off some kobolds and then encountered a black dragon. And then I have a note here that they're currently discussing what they're going to do next. And a note about Fizzletok's mage armor that it lasts until 4 p.m. Because 2 weeks from now, I'm probably not going to remember that. And those are my session notes from the previous game session, just to remind me where we're coming in at for the current game session. And then down below, my session end notes, these are the notes that I take at the end of the game session. Basically, I just detail out what actually happened so that I can remember. They fought the dragon and the Abishai, and the dragon fled, and one of the characters died. And then a new character, that character rolled up in probably about 30 minutes or so, was introduced into the game, so he could keep on playing and not sit out for the whole time. And then some other stuff, there are a bunch of trolls and bad stuff is happening, and then I make a note that they are about to get into a fight, well, they're in a fight, and more trolls are charging to join them. Okay, and the key here is to take these notes just after the game session ends before you forget everything. I know I would. And then you read over your journal notes from the previous game session when you're doing your planning for the next game session. Number 3, session planning notes. Now, when I'm talking about session planning notes, I'm not talking about your in-depth adventure planning that you're going to do, where you detail out what's in all of the rooms and possibly make read aloud text if you do that sort of thing and detail the loot and all of that. What we're really just doing here are detailing out the high-level bullet points for planning the game session. You could consider these to be the main story beats that you plan on hitting, the main things that will happen in the game world. And it's not what the PCs will do, because you don't know what they're gonna do, but it's rather what your world or the NPCs that are in it will do. You can detail out the encounters that you have planned. You can do the adventures the PCs plan to go on. And then you have a list of things that you're planning on introducing into the game world, into the game, and what PCs don't get into in one game session just carry over into the next game session. Okay, and what you're seeing on screen right now are my plot points from my Curse of Strahd game. This is basically my session planning. These are the main things that I plan on hitting in that game session. For instance, while they're in Kresk, there's something going on with the Vitness family, and then I have some Kresk lore that I'm planning to introduce to them. I'm gonna have this boy, Ilya, get raised from the dead, and there's some exploration of the Abbey that's going to take place. And one of these plot points, the Abbot demanding a burial ground in return for raising Ilya from the dead, he doesn't end up doing that of the villagers themselves, but instead he asks the players to help with that. And then we get down into retrieving the bridal dress, and they get to one part of this story beat, but they don't get to the other ones, and so those will pick up in the next game session. So again, as you saw there, those are just very high-level story beats, you might call them, that I plan on getting to in a game session. But I have far more detailed notes for the individual adventures. Well, in this case, it's Curse of Strahd, so all of the detailed stuff is in the game module itself. Pointing back this way, because my Curse of Strahd book is right there. Number 4, future plot points. All right, so this is a really key thing that I think all Dungeon Masters should be doing if you're not doing it already, is keeping track of things that might happen in the future based on a group's previous decisions and actions. And then you use these things in the future to design adventures for the group and events that will happen in the game world based upon things the group has done. Now, you may never use all of this big list you're gonna compile, but it gives you a pool of ideas to choose from. And because these are based on things the group did, it makes the game world feel alive, like it reacts to the player's actions and decisions. Okay, and what you're seeing on screen right now is from my Ancient Dragon game. These are future plot points, things that have happened in the game world that might come back and become adventures in their own right. By the way, Ancient Dragon players, you probably don't want to look at these things. It's going to spoil the game for you. You can see here my first big note here is the orphans and the horse. They had some horses that they had left behind, and they might have to go find them at some point. These are horses they're very, very attached to. The Mad Titan, they woke up a dormant titan from a long dead deity, and it went off on a rampage across the game world. And they might have to do something about that in the future. I have a note about Bettina Still of the White Tree. She is a sea hag that the group helped rescue from a bunch of will-o-wisps, and she promised to help them out with getting some secrets about how to break a coven if they were to give her a walking cauldron. Who knows if they'll ever get back to that plot point, but it's there if they decide to ever pursue it. And I have a note here about a favor owed to the Temple of Tyre. Somebody here raised Cassim from the dead for only 500 gold pieces when it was gonna cost more, and now the group kind of owes them. So this big list of things here they're possibilities for adventures in the future. They're things that I might develop into an adventure for my group. Some of them I might not. They might just sit there and get forgotten. But that list is there for when I need inspiration, for when I want to design something for an adventure that's based upon something they've done in the past. It's always a fun thing to do. Little guy's over there rolling around. What are you doing, little guy? Come rub my belly. I'm not rubbing your belly. I'm working. I'm not rubbing your belly. Oh yeah. This is little guy. Little guy, say hello to YouTube. I don't like YouTube. Little guy. He's a small one. Little guy. Little guy doesn't like YouTube. Number 5, level tracking. Basically, you just want to track their current level and when they gained that level. I like to keep track about when they gained their level because that way I can make sure that there is a steady progression of leveling and the group isn't sitting at like level 2 for like too long of a time. I tend to forget when they level up, and it helps me to know that, hey, it's been quite some time before they've gained a level. I like to have my groups level up every 3 or 4 game sessions roughly. That means that if we play twice a month, it takes us about 3 years to get to level 20. For me personally, I feel like that's a really good tempo every 3 or 4 game sessions, because then you gain a level, you learn some new cool stuff and all that kind of thing. You use it a little bit, you get accustomed to it, and then you gain a new level and you learn some more new cool stuff and you get to use it for a while before you gain another level. Number 6, a to-do list. This is just a reminder of things that you need to do to prep for the next game session or future game sessions. Because if you got a memory like mine, you forget that stuff. All right, here's a very basic to-do list of mine. I really just have a note to create an adventure for one of my groups and some information about one of the players' character arcs, some things that I need to do to prepare for that character arc. And it just so happens that that character is no longer living, so I can probably just erase that to-do list right there. Yeah. There, that's easy. Number 7, downtime activities. My recommendation is that when your players have downtime and they do certain activities, that you keep track of them, because they could come back to influence the game and affect things in the future. And some players will have elaborate downtime plans, so if you track them, you can then go about helping the player reach their goals. For instance, on screen here, you're going to see some notes about one of my players, Relictus. He had some very elaborate plans for what he would like to be doing in his downtime, which involved creating a magic item. And so basically, he and I had worked together to establish the different steps, the different things he would need to do in order to be able to create that magic item. They involved researching the recipe for it, and then researching where to find the rare ingredients that he would need. And then he had to go about getting the rare ingredients and doing certain things. And you can see here I have a basic checklist that we were going through as he was performing these actions during his downtime. Number 8, game world notes. You want to keep track of important groups and NPCs the characters come across. Keep important notes about them so that you're not just left scratching your head, and because you might have improvised a whole bunch of things about them, and you want to be able to remember them for the next time your players run into them. You never know when those NPCs and groups are going to become important again in the game, and you can even take them and create future things that happen with them, obviously. And you want to make notes about changes to the game world based on the character's actions. patrons. Remember, to get Might and Majesty, my April Patron PDF, click that link below or the icon on the screen. All my patrons get monthly PDFs full of Dungeon Master resources, including at least 2 5th edition adventures, complete with maps designed for virtual tabletops that they can use in their games. So reduce your prep time and improve your game by becoming a DM Lair patron. So I want to give a shout out to the following awesome patrons who help support all the work I do around here. Stefan, William L, Maximum Max, Angel of Ragnarok, Kirk E, Phoebe, Banality G, Snapbragger, Josue S, KDC, Tooth and Nail Rules, Bill R, Edward L, Bidabee L, Kathy D, Luke G, Travis E, Jay Fritzholtz, Waring, Karen C, CMDR Starin, Ryan G, Heztrek, Talon M, Rachel S, Evan Devine, Xavier H, Devon D, Kevin W, Manuel M, Tom M, Philip K, Kale S, Jeremy W, Brian D, Bran C, Tom M, Fallon, Stephen F, Brad A, Jacob S, Ted K, Ramsey M, Hydra Slayer, Jacob S, Tyler A, Stetson H, Munlo V, Toos, Michael S, Chris C, Jeremy B, Paul R, Death O, Kyle M, Joseph H, Joshua G, Brian S, Lord Chemic, Nuclear Flunky, Cody, Richie M, Zach S, Rusky, and CT Cox. Thank you so much, really appreciate the support. And sorry if I mispronounced anybody's name because I'm really bad at pronunciation in general and names are particularly difficult. So yeah. If you enjoyed the mind-blowing DM advice I gave today, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment for the algorithm down below. Let YouTube know that I don't completely suck. And until next time, let's play D&D.